What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 5 of DPF on Tap. I'm here at the garage with John Kruk. We have Mike and we have Rob the Butcher coming at us remote. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to do a recap of the Phillies Padres series. Each guy's going to be able to talk about that. We're going to take a look ahead to the Guardians and the Brewers. We're going to spend some time talking about trade talks, prospective trades, and then we're going to do a little bit of like DPF Garage Q&A, and that's more of like, you know, what the garage is all about, how it kind of started, if any of the John, Mike, or Rob have any questions about it, as well as any viewers' questions. We're going to have Mike do the Odumbass of the week. We're going to have John hit us up with the minor leaguer of the week. And then we're going to do a Phillies Make Me Drink segment. In between each two of the segments, we're going to kind of like flip to the comments. So there were some comments people posted on social media that we're going to just kind of do a roundtable and answer. And, you know, that's kind of like what we're looking forward to today. So to kind of jump right in on my end of it, you know, we're on a 3-game winning streak, right? So that's, you love winning series. But I really love that they won, you know, the last 3 here. So we're going against, you know, the next series on a hot streak, right? To me, the one unexpected hero is Hoffman. Like, this guy, I looked him up because I knew he was like a journeyman and jumped around, right? This dude was he was a first-round draft pick. I think it was either number 6 or number 9 in 2014. So this guy has the skills. He just never put it all together, right? 2.59 ERA through since he's come up, and he's only given up 1 earned run in the last 9 innings pitched. A couple of his sliders reminded me of 2008 Brad Lidge. It's not that left to right movement or right to left when you're looking to TV. It's more of like it's going up and down but sharp, like you know, a super sharp curveball. Just this diving motion, awesome. And then, you know, more of the other thing I wanted to talk about and just touch on is like it's nice to have Rojas up. We don't know kind of why he's in Double-A and he gets brought up, and there's Muzziotti and, you know, Cave, who could have done the same things. I know left-handed guys they're not really looking for that, and Rojas being right probably helped it. But I'm happy with it, and I thought the other thing is, in the last game, the thing that I was most impressed with is that the Padres did not have the trainer come out at all. You know, the game before, the fucking trainer's out there like every fucking 2 batters. I was like, what is going on? But you know, winning 3 of 4 and winning the last 3 and sweeping the doubleheader. And, you know, John's going to do the banana hammock. So that was nice. He's taking one for the team. So what was your points, John?
I was worried from during the first game. First of all, I thought after the All-Star break, they should have reset the rotation and not put Sanchez out against
That's a great point.
Darvish.
Yeah.
So he got smoked, but I think he'll bounce back. You know, we've seen enough good things from him like a couple games before that. Mm-hmm. So I hope he bounces back. But like like you said, the doubleheader and like yesterday, they showed a lot of fight in them. The bats finally woke up. You know, Harper and JT came around a little bit. Nicky 3 Buttons was a little cold this weekend. But hey, I mean, at least others stepped up, you know. Like, when someone's down, you got to, you know, fill the void somehow. And like you said, the Rojas was a blessing. He had a great MLB debut and fabulous bunt yesterday. And he almost beat that out at first, too.
How about? Maybe they teach it down there
yeah,
now. That's
and they
good.
should. And like I was saying in the group chat, yesterday, when they do batting practice, they should do some bunt drills, some small ball drills, maybe. Mm-hmm. Get these guys a little refresher course. But overall, I loved the weekend. But and can Hall go somewhere? I don't know. I mean, did they think Clemens was that bad, or like? I'd rather see Ellis up here than Hall or Clemens, but
Are they showcasing him in hopes of, because his time's short.
Yeah,
he might be done. Because if Harper's playing first,
exactly, and then two lefties are first.
Yep.
So that defeats the purpose. So, but I mean, overall, I was happy. I was like I said, I was worried that first game because you was pitching a pretty good game for a while, and I mean, and we just didn't have it Friday, but. That doubleheader yesterday, bravo. That's what we needed to do. Come out the gate running.
Yep.
What you think, Mike?
So, I'm aligned with a lot of what you guys said, but I think about what we said going into the All-Star break. Right? We were mad. We were 4-2, but we got a little momentum, right? And then we got some more coming out, which I think is huge for the rest of the season. Something like 60% of our games are at home the second half, and to get that momentum going, I think is huge. Somebody said, I think, John, you said the bats started to come to life. What I really saw was some timely hits, right? We've been complaining about hitting with runners in scoring position. They did that a little bit in this series. I thought the starting pitching showed up well, minus Friday's game, and the pen stepped it up. Chris, you covered Hoffman. And then Harper gets off the schneid. I think that is huge for his confidence level, right? Not only with the homer, clearly that's important, but also with several clutch hits, specifically off a really good closer. And then somebody touched on Rojas. I think, Chris, you said Rojas. I think that sparked a little bit of a bump in the defense, right? Turner came up with a couple of plays like, wait a minute. The kid just came up from Double-A, and he's banging off the wall, catching the ball in the first inning. I better get my head out of my ass. And then, you took the words out of my mouth. What I said about Hall here is it's a struggle to watch offensively and defensively. So that's my take on the Padres. Butcher, what you got?
Yeah, again, agree with all you guys, but I'm gonna access my inner Dugan here, basically, and say that we should have fucking swept them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm mad about a 3-1 weekend. Because Friday was just sloppy, and that it was very frustrating. It was frustrating baseball. They got down, they stayed down. It was just, but then Saturday, I mean, every game they won, they started out down, and that's a testament to these guys that no matter what happens early in the game, they play, 27 outs. They play till the end of the game, and just seeing like Schwarber had 3 home runs over the weekend. I think that's huge. As long as he continues to provide that level of like power and pop and intimidation to start off the game. I heard something today about opposing pitchers basically fear that first at bat. And that's you need that going into the second half of the season, going into the playoffs. And that's the kind of shit that gets the crowd into it. They got a lot of home games coming up. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Schwarber, and I'm looking at fucking Stott, man. Like, when are we going to start recognizing it? That Stott is like a legit, like he could hold on. Yeah, he could hold on to second base for years to come. In stark contrast to Derek Hall, who seriously, like, I'll buy him a bus ticket. Like, he needs to go, and then we need to get somebody else, whether it's Cody Clemens or just giving somebody else that if we need another bullpen arm, we probably need another bat. So moving forward, it was a huge series going 3-1. And I think when they won that one game on Saturday, the second game, I said, this is huge. Like they got to build on this. So that's what I'm looking for in the second half.
Cool. I guess we'll move on to like the next series. So we have the Brewers at home, and then the Guardians, and I still want to call them the Indians. I just can't do the Guardians thing. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right still. So I was looking up some of the stats for both teams, like more of the team stats, and I got down into like the individuals. Milwaukee's a fraud. Milwaukee is not good at anything. They're like, I think, 22nd in hitting, 28th in runs scored, middle of the pack in ERA. They have 52 wins, and it's smoke and mirrors. I I just don't feel like they're a good team. That being said, any team can win. I just feel like, Teheran is pitching, and like this is like one of those dudes that's an ex-Brave that has some type of fucking hex on the Phillies. So like, that could be like a 2-1 game. If Sanchez is on his game this time. But Wade Miley, he's terrible. He's not good. And I don't know, like Willie Adames, he got a bunch of home runs, but he's hitting like he's Schwarber, but worse because he has like 15 homers. He's hitting 211. Yelich is finally like okay again, but he's not MVP caliber. No one there feared. I feared Rowdy Tellez just because, like, I don't know. I feel like this dude is like just always hit us well. I don't know if that can be statistically proven, but I thought Rowdy Tellez just tuned us up. So, segueing to the next, the Guardians are not good either. Like, they're going to be sellers, and this is like another team that even though it's on the road, you have to win 2 out of 3 against them. You just have to do it. And the Brewers, like, I think it's the same. Like, I'm not calling for sweeps, but you just have to keep winning series here. The Indians are going to be sellers. One of the things I don't like about the pitching is, again, Sanchez is starting off the series, so like it's on a bad note. I don't know. Like, Sanchez is like pitching the second game. I forgot about fucking Nola. Is starting the first game against Teheran, so it feels like it's like a Phillies Braves game from like the mid 2010s or something like that. But that dude's got to get his shit together, and I can't believe how many Nola lovers there are in Philadelphia. Dude's got 8 wins. Good for him. His ERA is like 4.4. It's good, but like, I don't know. He's just unclutch, and I feel like I'm tired of him complaining. But Mike, where are you at with upcoming series here and expectations and things to look for?
Yeah, the interesting part that I was looking at is the records. Kind of like you dove into the team stats first. So Milwaukee's 2 games up in the division on the Reds and 8 on the Cubs, and Cincinnati's a game and a half behind the Phillies in the wild card. So this is a huge series against the Brewers. We really need to win this series to keep pace with Cincinnati. I had the Nola, Sanchez, Walker against Teheran, Miley, and Walker. So in game 3 we got Walker against Walker. That's kind of, I don't know, interesting to me.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then when I dove in, it looks like it's a really close matchup in skill level. So it'll be interesting to see who steps up, like what Nola shows up, right? What Sanchez shows up. Is it the one that we got before the All-Star break, or is it the one that we got the other night against the Padres? And I think this series in particular, we need to leverage the home crowd. So everybody that can get to the game, get out and get to the game. It seems like our players feed off of that, and they talk about it a lot. I heard 2 or 3 of the post-game interviews, and they're like, listen, this crowd is nuts here, and it really is. It's like an extra player. It helps the team that much. And then just keep the momentum offensively and gain some consistency in our starting pitching, and hope the pen stays hot, and let's get a little bit consistent with some good defense. Then going into the Guardians, I agree with you. I still have a ton of folks that are Tribe fans. They all call them the Tribe. They don't call them the Guardians, from when I lived in Ohio. And they're really struggling. They have key players out with injury. They're still 2.5 games out of first place in the AL Central, but 6.5 games out of the wild card. So that should tell you how the AL Central, how strong that is there. This is one of those teams, guys, where you need to put your foot on their throat, I think, is Butch's line. This is a team that, at the longer you let them stay in a game, they're like, oh, we might be able to hang with these guys, and then get maybe like a lucky flare and a bomb, a bloop and a blast, and stay in a game and maybe steal a game or 2. And so we need to make sure that we hit with men in scoring position like we started to against the Padres. Make sure we get some clutch hits, and just be confident that you're going to beat this team that is clearly inferior to you. John, what you got?
Yeah, we should sweep the Brewers. We should. But you got Nola in there. I mean, I'm hoping Sanchez, comes back from that loss Friday. But you got Nola pitching twice in these 2 series coming up. What Nola you gonna get? I'm thinking he's gonna win one and lose one. Which one? I don't know. If he's gonna drop one, I mean, I think Bieber will be back from injury by then. I thought he was day to day or on the 10-day or something. But I got the probables coming up. If it's not Bieber, that's great. But Bieber's been struggling a little bit too this year.
Yeah.
So, but Nola against Bieber, but Nola's supposed to against Hayron. I'm not really scared of the Brewers. It's Willie Adames and just a bunch of it's like the Little Rascals.
Yeah, a bunch of
It's
middling players.
Yelich just faded. You got Roddy Tellez dripping hoagie dip at first base. I hate that dude.
I think he's hurt. I think
he?
he broke his knuckle.
Probably pulled a
catching
rib.
foul balls. It could have been.
But I mean, in the beginning of the season, I could have sworn they were going to be sellers.
Yeah.
Because they let a couple people go in all season. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like, aren't they trying to compete? And then it's like, then they start bringing up these guys. That's how they're staying afloat. They're pretty much a fraud team, a fraud first place team. But they brought up some young guys, to fill in some holes. But that's how they're staying afloat. And I'm thinking the Reds, and people might laugh at this, the Pirates are even going to place higher than them by the end of the year. I think the Brewers are going to be 3rd place by the end of the year.
All right.
That's
I think
what
the
I'm
Reds
calling
are
it.
legit.
Because the Cubs were a fraud a little bit. The Cubs are settling down. They're going down.
Yeah.
But the Reds,
They're legit.
the Reds are pretty legit, and and the Guardians, like you said. So I think that we're going to win 2 out of 3. I want them to sweep, but I think realistically 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. Guardians, you have to win at least 2 out of 3
Yeah.
because they're not too. They're in 2nd place in a very sloppy AL Central, like slop fest. Like every team in there, just is hanging on by a thread. I think the first who's first place in that is that Chicago maybe?
Where
Or,
in the Central? It's Milwaukee.
It's Milwaukee.
No, I mean
Oh, AL. Yeah.
The Twins.
Twins, yeah.
Yeah, and they're barely hanging on, so it's a slop fest. So, but they're when they want to be, they could be a pretty good hitting team. So, I'd say out of the next 2 series, I'd like to see 4-2
Okay.
at minimum.
All right. So.
The Twins are leading that. The Twins are
They
leading that
are.
division.
Okay.
2 games
Yeah.
over 500. The
Yeah,
Guardians,
that's what I'm saying.
the Guardians are 3 games under, and that's just the kind of team that the Phillies play down to, especially if they're going to go to Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
They'll end up, we just rattled off, 6 or 7, and now we're going to come in here and, lay an egg, and they'll lose 2 out of 3. So, again, they have to. This series against Milwaukee's, they're like 13th in the National League in runs scored. And if they have 52 wins, they're leading that division. So they're probably getting good pitching. We can assume they're outscoring their opponents somehow. I don't fucking know how when they're 13th in runs.
Yeah.
So it comes down to the bats. We have to have, give up less than 4 runs a game. Like if we can keep them under 4, I have confidence that we can put up 5, 6, 7. Go off for a 12-spot one game, like that would be nice. And then if we can realistically go like 4-2 in this in the next 6 games, we'll be happy. Maybe I don't know what to get Dugan in here next week and see how pissed off he is about the 4-2. But so I brought him up twice. He's not here. I can talk shit. Now, but realistically, they should win 5 or 6. I think that's realistic, and where they just drop one that they shouldn't have, or they just come out and they were beat that day. But I can't stop calling them the Indians either, Chris. In my head, they're the Indians.
Yeah.
And even when I look at the logo or the name, I just see Indians.
Yeah. Regardless of the G.
Yeah, I know it says Guardians, but all I see is Indians. So
Chief Wahoo was the coolest logo.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move to some viewer comments here. So Garrett is present. I think Garrett's from the Philippines, so like we see on like our viewership that there's someone overseas. So I think it's you, Garrett. So we appreciate you. Nancy was also happy with Hoffman's performance. It was, awesome one. Alex, the trainer came out whenever, so it felt like, there were 2 strikes. It was crazy. It was just, they were using it as kind of like an excuse. Like soccer players, they'll just kind of fall on the ground and feign hurt, so they get a rest. I'm just like, I feel like the Padres did that. Good point about Sanchez, Scott has here, and Hall after Clemens, Alex feels was a downgrade, and Cindy loves Stott, so Stott is the man. I'll give one more question, and I'm going to randomly pick one of our panel here. So Max K is asking, and this is a great segue because we're going to move into the trade talks. So I'm going to have Mike start his off first, but I'm going to put this question his way. So it was, do we think Rojas is here to stay, or is he a showcase point for potential trades? Max likes him for defense, speed, and his ability to play small ball. And an outfield of Marsh, Rojas, and Castellanos is interesting. So, Mike, what do you think? And then, we'll move into trade talk between us all.
Sounds good. So it's an interesting point. We've discussed it amongst us. Some of us feel like, John, that he's up here to stay, and he's like a young piece to bring in and develop, and I think pretty much the rest of us think that he's on showcase for some sort of a deal to get either a corner outfielder or a 2-3 or some people say 5 number starter. So it's a really good question. Everybody is tight-lipped. I can't find anything about it online. And so that even makes me think more that it's a showcase piece. What can this young, really, talented, if he's not 5-tool, he's a 4-tool player. Hitting is still the jury's still out on his hitting, but it could be just a showcase in my opinion. You want me to roll into trade talk?
Yeah, so talk about kind of what you think the Phils are going to do and what you're feeling about the trades. It could be anyone, but most, I guess Phillies.
Yeah, sure. So the 2 biggest rumors out there, are Soto and Ohtani. I see all over all kinds of social media and online. I don't think we get either of those 2. I think the cost is too high for those guys. So I'm more into the Jordan Montgomery, left-handed pitcher from the Cardinals. He's 6-7 with a 3.23 ERA and 18 starts, and I think that's a good upgrade for us.
Mike, is he on the IL still?
He just came off.
Okay.
And then the other one is a third baseman from the Nationals, Candelario. He's hit 261, 337 on base, 478 slugging, 13 homers, 48 RBIs, and 27 doubles at the All-Star break. So those 2 really interest me. They're like not a big investment in our future as far as prospects, but could bolster the roster. I'll just throw out one more. So I was super happy to see that the Mets are sellers, and they're selling Pham, Nimmo, Kana, Marte, Karachi, and Peterson, all rumored to be on the market for the right prospect or veteran right now, and that makes me wicked happy, guys.
Well, as long as Peterson isn't signed here again.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or Robertson.
Yeah.
Butcha. Over to you. What do you got for trade rumors?
I don't really I'm trying to decide whether they need a starting pitcher. They seem to be sold on Sanchez. And then once we get to the playoffs, it doesn't really matter. It's a 4-man rotation. So I don't really think they're going to go after a starting pitcher. And then everybody's talking about a left fielder, somebody they can add a bat. I think that kind of muddies things because of where we have like the situation with Harper. Like, is he going to play first? An interesting name might be now, like it was earlier in the year, they were talking about it, might be Christian Walker. It might be a guy who can play first base, has a lot of power. I don't know if they're going to make him available because they're playing. I guess they're playing so well that they may not fucking look to split that team up.
Yeah.
And then another guy, if you're going to bolster the bullpen, Daniel Bard in Colorado. He's an interesting guy. I'm not saying he's great, but he's an interesting guy because you got a guy with closer experience who, you don't necessarily have to plug him in a closer. Kimbrel's doing a great job with that. But to have another guy who has that experience in the back of the bullpen to take the eighth inning or to take when Kimbrel needs a day.
Butcha, did you read about Daniel Bard and kind of what he's going through or what he went through?
No.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's Sports Illustrated or at The Athletic, which is, for pay, but like this dude's story is awesome. Like this dude's a tough dude. I applaud Daniel Bard. It was, if you have a chance and anyone hasn't, look that article up. It was incredible.
Yeah. I definitely will. And see, that's another thing. If the guy's going through a lot and he's tough, he's bounced back. This is the kind of city, especially in a playoff run, he would feed off of that, and then the city would also support him and get behind him. So,
yeah.
What do you think, John?
They keep every time I think I have an idea of what I want to see from trade rumors, they're flipping and flopping the roster.
So this reminds me of Rowdy Piper, which I love wrestling. He's like, once you know the answers, I change the questions.
It's just because I'm gonna touch on what Mike said about Rojas. When they brought him up, I'm like, okay, it's just for injury. I could have sworn they were going to probably bring him up for call-ups in September. Expand the roster, bring him up, see what he's got.
Yeah.
Then maybe, invite him to camp next year and blah, blah, blah. But he's up. I did not expect, we were talking last week, like, bring up Slapnuts, bring up this guy.
Yeah.
When they called up Rojas, I'm like, okay, let's see what he's got. And he had a good weekend. But to throw a wrench, there's a little wrench in the thing about them dangling him, though, I think. You guys might have a different opinion. Pashi's having surgery to get that screw done.
Yeah.
They don't know when he's coming back.
Yep.
So if you trade Rojas, then there's like a hole, you know what I mean? There might be a potential hole there. Then you're looking for another outfielder anyway.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nerdy with like the science, so I was like, I've never heard of a guy's screw coming loose. Like we all have screws loose, but it's different screws. But
protruding through the elbow.
Supposedly, bone normally grows around it,
right?
And it normally seals it in. But I think they know that he's not coming back this year. But that's just kind of conjecture.
So I'm thinking they're gonna stick with the Rojas playing a lot in center and Marsh in left, and like Schwarber DH. Harper at first.
Yeah.
So since you have all positions covered, I'd like to get a right-handed power bat off the bench. I would like to try to get Adam Duvall. I wanted to sign him before the Red Sox did. I don't know how Dombrowski dropped the ball on that, but people keep talking about Cody Bellinger. He's a lefty though, another lefty. We need a right-handed bat.
Yeah.
But also pitching I'm going to say something that might sound crazy, and then the Nolan lovers are going to hate me. I'd trade his ass. I don't care if we're trying to go on a run. He's not re-signing here. And they already gave him an offer. He turned it down. He's not re-signing. Get something for him. Get a couple prospects. Get something. Or package him for something to make the team better. And because by that time, maybe, Painter's better. Try to see what McGarry's got or Abel, something. You got to try something out. And then in free agency, we'll pick up a big name pitcher. But as far as a pitcher, not really trade wise, I thought it was interesting. Maybe we could pick him up. It'd be low risk, and it'll be cheap. Amir Garrett got DFA'd by the Royals. Won't be bad for the bullpen.
He's a tough dude.
Yeah.
I remember that
when he's
one
sitting
game
out there.
And I think he was playing for the Reds at the time, and he threw at someone, and then they kept chirping. And the manager came out to kind of like talk him down, And as the manager's talking to him, he's not even talking to the manager. He's looking at the dugout, and he's like, I'm coming after you. So he handed the ball over and didn't go into his own dugout. He ran right into the opposing dugout and started throwing hands. So I like his moxie.
I would like him, and if they could pick him up, it'd be cheap, low risk. If it don't work out, you could always, cut him loose.
Yeah. Flip over to me. Yeah. So here's a couple of things I was thinking of when, we're kind of thinking of trades, and everyone's touched on it. Like, do we have a World Series winning roster from top to bottom, and where is the problem at? So right now the problem is the bullpen. Alvarado's been hurt twice. Sir Anthony's been hurt twice or more. The ERA since July 2nd is 6.95, the worst in the league. That's not good. Even with Hoffman being good, it's the worst. You have to solidify the bullpen because that's going to come up so much in the playoffs. Think back to last year. How many times we brought Sir Anthony in or Alvarado in and he saved our ass. We can't go in there with, Bilotti or Hoffman's been good, but I don't know. He's not been tested or, trusted. And we saw that throughout the playoffs. Like, you get the jitters and it kind of hurts you. A few of the names that I'd like to toss out. And this one I'm really high on. I want this guy after kind of like hearing his story, looking at his numbers, seeing what he recently did, seeing his age. I think he's probably going to come on the cheaper end. Lance Lynn. The White Sox are out of it. They're going to sell. This dude just came off a 17 strikeout performance. He's 36 years old. And he's on it only like on a 2-year deal. So like we get him for the end of this year, and then he's the replacement for Nola if Nola goes. So it's already built in. Along with that, Joe Kelly is there. Another proven, hard-nosed, tough player that I really want that dude. And I don't think that's enough. But I want to be able to move Sanchez to the bullpen. I think Sanchez could be a valuable piece in 1 or 2 innings as a left-handed guy, right? Because right now, Alvarado is up in the air. Strom, this dude might be spent. We have no idea. And the other one is, I'm still high on this Lane Thomas. I'm not as high on him because if the Phils are going to keep Rojas, I don't think Rojas is going to give you power. And in the first couple of games, you saw some blips of this guy's young and he's overeager. He's on a 1-2 count, and this dude's swinging from his ass. He's not looking to protect the plate. And, that's more of the baseball way. You want to hit a home run as opposed to get contact, and this dude has speed and maybe get on. But he's swinging from his goddamn heels, and I know he's young and he'll figure that out at some point. But I think the White Sox are the perfect target to go after someone. Lance Lynn kind of gets you through this year, and he's an upgrade to Sanchez. I don't know. He might be your number 2 when all is all said and done, when he comes here at a cheap price. And Joe Kelly's just a tough dude. I just feel like he's the right mentality for the right city and the right team. I know there's some other players out there, Barlow, but I don't know. These guys that come from KC, haven't played in big time places. I just don't trust them. Could we go into the series, into the playoffs with Harper, Stott, 2 left-handers on the right-hand side of the infield, Turner and Bohm on the left-hand side as right-hand, catcher is Real Muto, of course, right-handed, down center, Rojas right-handed, Marsh in left-handed, Castellanos in right, so it's 5-4, so it's a really good split. We're not too left-heavy, we're not too right-heavy. I would focus way more on pitching than I would on hitting. I like the idea of getting some big bopper, some guy who can come off the bench that strikes fear in the hearts of other pitchers, because we don't have that I'm aware. Hull's not it left-handed wise, and we just don't have that. So I don't think the Phillies will stand pat. I think they're going to do something. I think they know they have to, and I'm not comfortable going in with Sanchez as number 5. Even though like Gibson was our 5 and we didn't use him, and now he's a Cy Young candidate, which is mind-boggling to me. And I like Kyle Gibson. I did, but it was just like you just saw that like he wasn't great and he was serviceable, and that's like one of the worst terms for a pitcher is like, oh, he's serviceable. It's like, all right, he doesn't suck. Is basically what that means to me. So. The other thing I want to say is on this Ohtani, and Mike, you talked about it. I would just want to get a quick yes or no, and I'm going to like just put out this trade there. We get Ohtani, the Phillies get Ohtani. He's the answer to a pitcher, and he's a power bat. We win the World Series. So because we get Ohtani, you're guaranteed that you're going to win the World Series. You have to give up Painter, Rojas, Muzziotti, and either McGarry or Abel. Do you do this? Yes or no? John?
No.
Okay. You don't like winning World Series?
Oh, I like winning the World Series, but I also think about how expensive Ohtani's going to be after that World Series if we want to retain him.
Well, we're not going to sign him. That's the thing. It's like you get your World Series, though. It's 100% a rental. Yep. And you're giving up 4 dudes, but you're going to be able to have a parade in November.
If you're talking about rental, yeah, I'd do it if you use a rental. Because we just drafted a bunch of pitchers, and then by the time, so we can go out in free agency and just, try to replace him with a couple guys next year. No one's gone. If they got the balls to resign Ohtani, so be it. Just dig in the middle of the pockets. But, yeah, I mean, I would do it if it was a rental.
Rob, where are you at on that?
Yes, absolutely yes. Just like you said, 2008 was awesome. And last year was so fucking close to awesome. I mean, it was great. It was fantastic. But it could have been fucking awesome. And winning a World Series, that shit's fucking awesome. So if pulling Ohtani in and mortgaging the future guarantees us a World Series this year, I'm all for it. Mike, what do you think?
I was ready to drive 6 hours to a parade last year. I'll drive the hour this year. Bye.
Yeah, I have to do it because, when I think about it, it's like 1950 to 1980. It's 30 years. Like, shit, I'm pushing 50. Like, if it goes another 30 goddamn years, I'm going to be fucking 6 feet under. I need to celebrate one more. I don't give a shit what the fuck Painter does if I can, celebrate and have a... It's like the Kyle Drabeck. Like, this dude was supposedly the end-all, be-all. Have you ever heard of him after that? You didn't. Like,
nope.
No. So... I'm all for, like, we're built to win now, so let's win now. And Dombrowski is of this same mindset. He will do something like this because he's done it before. He, like, does crazy stuff because he knows this is, like, we have this window where, like, we're really close. So,
can we keep one of them, though?
We can, well, yeah.
One of them young pitchers.
Abel or McGarry. But, like, Painter is going to have to be. They're going to want
Painter's
him.
Has to be.
He's going to want to be part
of
that.
Give him Painter and Abel. And if I can keep McGarry, at least one of them.
Painter hasn't pitched at all. I'm like, it's great that like, this dude's like the number 1 prospect.
Yeah, that's true.
But, like,
everybody was hyped in spring training. Like, oh my god! I'm like, it's spring training.
Yeah, but he hasn't been here. I'm going to go to some comments before we go into our next segment. So let me bring these up. And Max says, thanks for asking his question. Cindy, we always appreciate a fuck the Met randomly. Garrett, priority should always be pitching. They're fine offensively, as frustrating as they can be. Yeah, because, there's going to be slumps, and pitching is pitching. So I don't think we're going to get a guy that's, guaranteed to do what Utley did in 09 World Series, hit X amount of home runs. We have to fight the Giants for Lynn. He's rumored to have interest there. So, like, Lance Lynn hated the Yankees, and he hated, like, having to shave his beard. He said he looked like a little kid. I don't think he's going to, like, put coconut oil on his asshole. So, like, I really think that, like, if we can get that message to him, like, yo, dude, this dude makes you put coconut oil on your asshole. You're doing yoga, and you're, like, spreading the brown eye up to the sun just so, like, he feels like your hole needs to get vitamin D. That's fucked up stuff, Lance. Come here. There's none of that bullshit. You'll eat cheesesteaks. You're a big dude. All of us got you. Like, we'll take you to the right spots.
Your manager's name is Tandix. That's
Yeah. He's the guy from Police Academy when they write dork on him and the suntan lotion.
Daniel says DPF or Phillies management. We appreciate it. So this is like, the four-headed monster, and with Dugan it's the five-headed monster. I don't know whose cat it was, but, like, I agree. Like, I want Otani right now.
That's what she was saying.
Yeah, so, yep. Cindy also heard the cat say yes. Garrett definitely take the World Series. There's no guarantee with prospects, and I think that was kind of my point. All right, so Steve, we appreciate it. So Steve is a huge DPF fan. He's been to every stadium, and fuck the Mets and fuck Joe Carter. We appreciate you saying that. Anytime's a good time for that.
Does that mean we have to stop now?
No. I hope not. Yeah, everyone's loving the cat. So, Butcher, what's your cat's name?
It's Sage.
Sage. Okay.
Yeah, the only reason she's in here is because they're eating dinner out there, and
so Sage will steal the
yeah,
steal food.
Yeah. So next time I'll have a little Phillies cap on her.
Oh, that'd be cool. Get her to do the dance. Put the duct tape on her.
Oh, that's right.
Do the Sage dance.
Right.
So Douglas agrees with Mike. He wants to see Monty from the Cards. Solid left-hand arm. Agreed there. What happens if you trade for Otani and it turns out Harper cannot play the field? Them are fucked. But I'd like to risk that. I think Harper can play the field. Or in that case, you move Schwarber's ass to first base because he played that for a little bit. He's brutal, but he's going to be brutal wherever he is. So he could move to first. So I think that's like the plan B if that ends up happening. Longest I've seen you without a glass of Jameson. Well, Daniel, it's like we're kind of like getting to the DPF Garage part, and we actually I haven't delved into this stuff yet, but we got the special Black Barrel, and it's I think it's uncracked. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. Big surprise there.
Thanks,
Cindy, was laughing at the coconut oil. And Paul doesn't get the painter fixation. He's got arm and mechanical problems. How many Spencer Howards, Jesse Biddles does it take to get over these prospects? Those are two great names and two great points, along with the Dreback that we're saying. So let me see. Okay, so Doug has another one. He wouldn't mind an outfielder. Schwarber's ass defensively. Maybe O'Neill. I thought about him, but he's like a white Roman Quinn, which is like he's hurt all the time, literally hurt all the time, because I was thinking about him as well. So there we go. Stubby can play anywhere, Alex. Like, Stubby can play left. Stubby played third for Israel. He's, catcher. He pitched a little bit. I think in one of these games, we got to get Stubb to, like, play every position. Just, like, kind of move him around. If it's towards the end of the year and, like, we have whatever it is, the wild card sewn up, put his ass at, third, short, first. All 9 innings, he plays a different position. I think that would be cool. All right, so the next segment we're going to go to is kind of talking about the DPF Garage itself. So a lot of people, like, will ask, and, I'm proud of it, right? So I'm always sharing pictures. So I'll say it in this way. For the art lovers, there's the Louvre in France.
Right.
If you love opera, you might go to the Metropolitan or Sydney Opera House in Australia. If you're into golf, you're going to go to Augusta or St. Andrews. If you like bourbon and horse racing, you're going to go to Churchill Downs in Kentucky. Well, if you love the Phillies, beer, and saying fuck the Mets, DPF Garage is your fucking place. how this started out, like, honestly, like 2 years ago, this was just a garage. It was filled with furniture and tools and, just regular decoration and house shit. I'm lucky that we have 2 floors. So all of that normal garage stuff either like got sold or you give it away. You kind of are like, am I going to need this? I haven't used it in 10 years. Well, you don't fucking need it then. So it's gone. So a lot of that tools and things are upstairs. So it's lucky to have, a second floor. But last year around this time, I just saw that I had a post and it was, I would sit here. Nothing was done, and I brought in my old kitchen cabinets, hung one on the wall. I had an old, fake countertop, and I'd put my old school radio there and just listen to the game. And it would, it was mostly in the dark. It was stained floor, industrial green all around. And then eventually it got like cool for me to be here because you're taking pictures and the radio was cool and I was just sitting on like a tailgate chair, right? And the tailgate chair is well used. I think it might go in the Smithsonian at some point if like we win. It's going to be like Archie Bunker's chair. It's just not as cool. And then eventually what happened was like I had people over for the for the playoffs in the World Series, and then I put bunting up, and it became a thing. It became awesome. I had like I don't know, 20 to 30 people here at times, and probably 50 different people throughout the playoffs last year, and it just became awesome. And I loved being in here. It's kind of like the man cave, the home away from home. I would go out here and not just watch baseball. I'd watch football and soccer and, listen to opera, podcast, whatever. It's just nice to be outside drinking beer, right? So eventually, I got the bar built. So the bar is a bunch of pallets. It's my old bedroom doors are the actual bar top. So our house was built in 1960. It's the original bedroom doors. The pallet wood, as you can see behind me. Got a TV on Amazon probably around Prime Day, and then just kind of built on it. Did like epoxy floors, and because it was a garage, right? It has all these things over it. But a couple of the things that I kind of want to answer is how do I? We get this question a lot. How do I get to come here? So it's tough because it's my house, right? And if I don't know you, I have kids here, and I can't just have anybody come in. So, I think if, you have references or, I know you, it makes it a little bit easier, a little bit different. So, I don't, if I had a bathroom out here, it'd be a different story because then you wouldn't have to go into the house. But there's also, liability issues. I can have 20 beers and just walk into my house. I can't let someone here do that and drive home because then I'd feel responsible. I'm not, selling it or you'd have to bring your own and all that stuff because all that fucking beer's mine. I don't mess around in that way. But I think that's kind of what where it comes to is it's not a no. I just think I have to think it about a little bit differently. And people say I'll pay or charge, and I'm like maybe there's an opportunity, and we're always trying to do things for charity. Maybe it's an opportunity where I get to know a few people, and I'm just say, hey, we're going to donate X to this charity, and we're going to have watch a game here together. And have a bunch of us. So because I guess there's safety in numbers, but I am going to go around to every post office and just make sure your picture's not on the wall, because that's how I met John. Which it was a nice. He's been great though. So. He's been great. So I kind of wanted to open it up to the other, 3 guys and see if there was any questions that they had that they've never asked. And then I was going to kind of go to the comments, just kind of talking about the evolution of the garage and things like that. So Mike, I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah. So what I always wanted to know is what was the evolution of the design? Because I'm starting to design a bar at the new house. And so walk me through, what the first vision you had was until you got to what you have today.
Yeah, so Mike, one of the things that was important to me was I did not want traditional drywall. I did not want the ceiling to be exposed. So I knew I always wanted it to feel somewhat like a garage. Like, I knew I wanted, like, my tool chest and certain things down here. But I also knew, like, after I thought of, like, oh, maybe I can build a bar, and I'm big on, like, reusing things, right? So, like, I bought some of the chairs originally off, Facebook, so I'm, like, not buying new, and I'm kind of, like, big on recycling and things like that. I'm not, like, Kapler with, oh, and the other thing I want to mention is, like, I have my shoes off right now. I have my socks off, and I'm, like, feeling the earth and the ground, so, like, this is doing wonders. The Phillies have been 3-0 since of my yoga. But Mike, I knew that I wanted to use these doors. So that's where it kind of started with. And the doors were always like this bronze color. So I knew that I wanted to do that. And I thought that I wanted to do at least one wall with the wood. Eventually, the other two were still that industrial mint green from like 1960 because it must have been cheap paint. Everyone had it inside and outside was that color. So I knew I wanted to do kind of like Phillies colors in some way, and I like the old school. I just didn't want the red in here because I thought it would be like, that 50 Shades of Grey dude. Like, he has some gray, some red room where there's like, weird stuff going on. There's weird stuff going on here, but none of that. It's mostly just, me sitting alone, drinking, putting on candles, and thinking about, Phillies of, next game and 20 years ago. But to answer your question, like, it was probably the bedroom door color that really, like, made me think, and also, like, the exposed beams. I love that kind of look and feel to keep it still rustic.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who's up next? Butcher, you got a question?
Yeah, I'll go. Do you guys serve soda?
Yeah, so,
I guess
Rob,
I can do my own, but...
No, that's a good point. So I always have soda and I always have water stocked in there and like Capri Suns because, like, Avery's in here quite a bit. So if you love any of those, there's non-alcoholic selections. I've even dabbled in mocktails. So, like, you could have a mocktail, whatever the fuck that means. I guess it just means, there's no alcohol in it, but mojitos.
No alcohol?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, you just have a simple syrup, you do a little bit of mint, and some like Angostura bitters or like rum bitters. It's no alcohol and it tastes the same, honestly. So we love everyone here except for Mets fans.
Don't lie, you've never drank one of those.
I've never drank a whole one. I've tested one. It was just like, when you put the straw in, and I was like, because this one time, it was recently. I bought non-alcoholic beer for here, and my credit card company called me, and they thought someone stole my fucking credit card because they're like, yo, hold on, dude, like, you got fucking Heineken NA on here, dude, are you sure? And I was like, no, I'm supplying, I'm like putting it here. But that was really good. So MasterCard, Apple Card is like on their game, man. I was really happy they called me about that because I can see how that could, yeah.
Real quick, I tried to pull up. This is I'm podcasting. I'm broadcasting from a school district issued computer here, so I can't access our blog because apparently that's a naughty site. So I tried to pull it up, and it said that page is blocked. But I believe on there, your introduction back in 2009 or 2010 said something about your dream to own a sports bar.
Yeah.
Now I have to ask you, does this satisfy that need? Does this quench that thirst, so to speak? Because it's a cool fucking setup. I will get up there one of these days. But does it have that feel for you?
It does. And, after reacquainting with Mike after, many years playing college, and he's kind of like working at the brewery and us having 2 beers out. So just a quick plug, I'm drinking Von C's Schwarzbier Black Lager, and John has the 700 level lager. I mean, man, isn't there a dream for me to have my own mini brewery to start off? And I don't know what the hell it's called, but it's probably DPF brewery and have it something similar to this, not exactly here, but have it be. So it whet the appetite, but I think it's one of those things where you hear people get a tattoo and they can't just have one. Like, I kind of want more. Right now, what I want is goddamn air conditioning because I'm still sweating my nuts off. So, like, if we ever have a brewery, it's going to have an outdoor, but it's also going to have air conditioning and heating, I promise. This one doesn't yet, but hopefully by next podcast, we might, like, be cool here. We might have parkas on. I don't know about that, but yeah, so in a way it does. I'm really happy with it. I'm obviously proud of it, sharing 1,000 pictures. But I think the other message is I think other people can do this, and I think it's like more doable than you think. You know, if your other lets you. I don't think costs definitely have to be a constraint when you're doing certain things like this. So, nice. Good questions, though.
Nice.
Did everyone go, or John? Yeah.
I just have 2 questions.
Yeah.
One, is there any postal workers watching? I need you to just click pause and come back next week. And when is Cat Stevens karaoke night? But I was just wondering where you probably get to ask this all the time. Where like, I know you came out here, to listen to the ball game and all, but when did it really evolve? Like, hey, I'm going to actually do this. You know what I mean? And just start to little by little, like by step, you know?
Yeah. So it was in January when like these were actually our bedroom doors. So right. At first it was kind of like, like it's this, my wife and I wanted, like, we needed to get our bathroom done and our bedrooms right. repainted. And we had these old doors, closet doors. And like, I took them down and I was like, I could have thrown them right out, but I was like, I think I have an idea for these. So that's kind of where it started. And I was like, I have free material that I was just going to throw out. So like, I kind of like reduced the already. So that's what kind of started it, was redoing part of the house. And like, I knew that if I could like get the house squared away and like everything, mostly nice, that I could have a little bit of leverage with my beautiful and lovely and loving and considerate and tolerant wife to be able to be out here and do things like that. Was there another part to it? Or was it oh, okay. It was the Cat Stevens. Like, yeah. What's his other name? Yusuf?
Yusuf.
Yeah. So I'm going to pause and we'll go to... oh, yeah, that's right. So Sig says some great memories in that old moldy green stained floor mecca of DPF. Yeah, I mean, it really is. And I do miss the floor a little bit. I got to be honest. The floor's beautiful now, but I miss, like, I don't know, like, the just the stains of it. And, like, maybe it's the earthing that's got to me and I'm, like, talking crazy here. Cindy says, Chris, the DPF Garage is amazing. Makes total sense. You're not opening up to the masses because it is the liability issues, honestly. Enjoy it with your friends and we can live vicariously. Like, I guess, friend me, and if you're cool and I can kind of like trust you and I can kind of see what the hell you're doing, what your address is, maybe I'll take a credit card at the door in case any damages are incurred if I don't know you. So Sig wants us to tell about the awesome bartender and how I circumvent the child labor laws. So we're not going to talk about the circumventing of the child labor laws, but she has air conditioning, and that's kind of like, she works for the air conditioning up in her room. Avery absolutely loves being out here, and I love her being out here because, like, I feel like my other kids, I was not able to impart my baseball knowledge, nonsensical and also practical baseball knowledge, and I think Avery could be the one. If not, it's going to have to be all of you, and I'm doing it vicariously through the internet. But Avery really loves being out here. I love being out here with her. And it's like there's days where it's just her and I, and it's, Renee will come out, my wife, but it's like Avery really gets it, and like she's starting to ask those like questions. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And not just kind of like, what was the score yesterday and how did Harper do? And, did we have one run because someone hit a home run? So, Alex, can I be head brewer? So Alex and Sig actually like make beer, and they did the DPF Garage series. So I'm going to give them a plug again and put this right up in front. So they made their own homebrew. I believe it was a couple cases. Delicious. Just made another one for Independence Day, so it was in honor of Zig's dad. So Zig's Independence Ale, awesome. I would love that because I'm not too smart with like making it. I'm very good with drinking it and telling, I know what I like. So that would be cool. You like it till she's about 14 and her friends are sneaking in, stealing your beer. Yeah, I mean, I guess my parenting in this terms is like, I'm not hiding stuff from her. She's not seeing excessive alcohol intake, although like on the page it seems like that, right? But she's not seeing it. I don't drink inside the house. I drink a lot out here, but she's not always seeing that. But I think that I'm more like exposing kids to something like that and kind of like giving them guidelines as opposed to like hiding it and saying, hey, there's secret daddy stash, don't try it. It's like she's aware of what it is. It's funny because when she was bartending this one time, she someone here might have been like a little bit like, tipsy, and she's like, she pulled the beer back and she's like, hey, I hope your wife's going to take you home because if not, you're cut off, buddy. Like, she's a tough cookie. Like, she did this, and I was like, I didn't tell her to do it. She was just like smart with it. All right, so let me go to some questions and answers and flip it around to these guys because I feel like I've talked too much. So Josh is asking, and I'm going to put this to the butcher, if Harper plays first base effectively and Schwarber goes back to DH, who would you like to see playing left field? Whether it's a trade, a pickup, or somebody in the organization already.
Well, barring any sort of trade, I think if we have Rojas in center and Marsh in left, Marsh is versatile enough. He can play both positions. And I think he's proven, he's like a stot, where he's proven between last year and this year that he belongs here. Hopefully he's a Philly for a long time. So I wouldn't mind doing that. And then if Pache comes back this year, then it's the same thing. Like, he plays center, move Marsh over. So not going outside the organization, not going into the minors or anything like that. Like, if of the guys that we have, I would say Marsh over and then have Rojas or Pache in center.
Okay, that makes sense. So now we're going to move over to John. He's going to give us our minor league update for the week.
I got my Ray Diddy pad here. Yeah, I'm spotlighting Felix Reyes this week. Outfielder, he can play first base and third base. Signed an international free agent contract in February of 20. So he was a free agent from the Dominican Republic. 6'3", 195 pounds, 22 years old. Bats right, throws right. So that's good. Reason he caught my eye, I was kind of looking at him anyway, but this weekend he had a kick-ass weekend. He had a game-tying 3-run home run in the ninth on Saturday night, and an 8-7 win, 10 innings versus Fort Myers. Then yesterday he had a grand slam and a 10-8 win in 10 innings.
Jeez.
So he had a hell of a weekend, and his fourth time this season he's had 4 RBIs in the game. So he got brought up from the what's the league before that? Is it the Florida Coast League or
he was in Clearwater
before?
Oh, I guess it was.
He got caught up. He got brought up to Clearwater from the other, the
rookie
lower,
ball. Or?
Yeah, rookie ball in May. But since then, he's had he's played 39 games, 41 hits, 16 runs, 287 average, not bad. 6 home runs, 40 RBIs, and 3 stolen bases. His OP on-base percentage is .333. I like the fact that he's flexible and he can play all the positions. I would like, as he develops, I would like them to narrow it down to 1 and not do a Kingery and, move the kid all around.
Yep.
But it's just someone who caught my eye, and I'm just going to keep an eye on him, see how he progresses. But I like it. He's a right-handed bat, and he can play multiple positions. So see what one we need. Hopefully develops it.
Cool.
We need him some. Within a few years or
Yep.
so.
So, well, thanks for that, Sean. And then, Mike, this is one of my favorite segments and a lot of viewers' favorite segments. We're going to go to the Odumbass of the week and, take it away. This is kind of like your spot here. Love this.
Awesome. All right, so picture this. You're a kid, right? You're thirsty. You're asking your mom for a drink, right? It's hot. It's 85 degrees out. And she whips out that big glass pitcher, and she puts some Kool-Aid mix in there, and then the Kool-Aid man comes busting through your wall, right? You guys all remember the Kool-Aid man. Well, now we fast forward to 2023, and we got this thing called TikTok. So there's a new TikTok challenge where kids are going around and blasting through things like fences. So on Long Island, 5 minors and 1 adult, age range between 12 and 18 years old, at between 1 and 3 a.m. The other night, hit 5 houses. So one of the gentlemen was a retired police officer, said it sounded like when they hit his fence, like someone was firing a gun off. So he calls his friends who are still in the police department. They come out 2 hours later. It's 3 a.m. They're taking his statement. And damn if they don't come back around again and blast through another part of his fence. All because of the TikTok challenge of the Kool-Aid man. It turns out they had done 5 of these, and they're all up on charges now. So that is my Odumbass of the week.
That's an absolute great one. Unbelievable. I'm going to start back with John. So we're going to end up our show with the Phillies Make Me Drink segment, which can be positive or negative. And mostly it's been negative, but I heard in my ear that John has a positive one.
Yeah.
And I want to hear this.
Yes, this is a happy one today. I was going to get on a player yesterday, but a certain player kind of came through and, had a decent day. So I picked another little subject or topic, as you would say.
Yeah.
What made me drink in a good way yesterday? The 37,000 or so fans that stuck out that rain delay and just toughed it out and just stayed the whole time.
Way to go. Like, that is awesome.
That's for you.
Love our fans.
2 hours and 56 minute rain delay.
Yep.
Stayed in that weather and roughed it out and cheered our team on, and they need it. Yeah, I mean, coming out of an All-Star break, like one of you guys said earlier, we need to feed off the fans. And the bravo to the fans that stuck that out yesterday. That was really cool.
Yep. Butcher, what do you got?
I'm going to go back to an old favorite here and just say Aaron Nola, because the motherfucker is so frustrating that it's just like, I may have said this the last time too. I don't know. I can't remember.
I think you did.
Yeah, he makes me
feel. Yeah, that's why I love that even more. He didn't even pitch yet.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. This motherfucker, this is the problem.
I just snorted.
He's in my head now. I'm fucked.
Oh my God.
What about you, Mike?
So I got a couple. I got in a great way this week. Nikki 3 Buttons, Man Bun, and Topper all showed up really good at the All-Star game. 3 of 4 from the Padres. Bryce breaking out a bit, and Turner and Rojas leading better D. Like, I cracked a cold one after opening 100 boxes in the move, and those were kind of my reasons for that. That's
a good one. So my Phil's Make Me Drink moment, it was from yesterday's game, and I know it was a win, but something that's like been pissing me off is like I feel like Thompson is fucking up at times, and like when Soto was in, and he's a left-hander, and his whole goddamn Melvin's bench is right-handed, and Tatis is sitting there, and you don't have a fucking right-hander up at the time. You got what you deserved in that point. And I'm not saying Marte would have gotten Tatis out, but I think he might have had a better chance than Soto, because Soto's like one of those dudes that's like every other appearance he's good, and I think this is like one of the ones where he wasn't. But you gotta have the goddamn guy up. Even if you're not gonna bring him in, then that might not have made Melvin bring in, Tatis at that moment, because then he knows you're bringing in the right-hander. That's like, it didn't make them lose the game, and I think Thompson is managed yesterday for the Phillies not to lose, as opposed for the Phillies to win, and I don't love that. They won in spite of, I think that mix-up there, and I think that was a bad choice. That's just kind of the reason I was a little bit pissed off yesterday. So we're going to go to a few more comments. We went a little bit longer than all of us expected, so we appreciate you staying here, and we want to make sure that we get these, comments out there as well. So Kelly is saying, Clemens, can he play the outfield? I think he can play anywhere, pretty much. I haven't seen him play short or second, but Mickey Moniak is absolutely raking in Anaheim. Would you rather have him back than Marsh? Mike, where are you with this?
I'm a no. I like Captain Caveman. I like the energy he brings. Moniak, he needed a change of scenery because it took so long to get him up to the club. So good for him. I like where we're at with Marsh.
Change of scenery is good. I think that's, and then what's up with this, though? Alex State, even though they shut the beer kiosks down in the 4th inning yesterday. Come on, Phils. If you make people
inning, no matter what.
7th inning, no matter what. I don't care if it's 2 in the morning. 7th inning.
Now, is that something they just changed? Because I was at a 1 o'clock game that got delayed, and they didn't pay. This is back when Worth was still here and all, Jason Worth and all them. The 1 o'clock game, it was a 3-hour delay. Picked it back up around 4 or 5 or something. We didn't get out until 8 o'clock, but they still kept serving right until the actual 7th. But that was some years ago too. So, but yeah, you got to go to the 7th inning.
Come on.
I mean, you're charging all that money. Come on.
So, final thoughts, Butcha?
Right now, just fuck the Mets. I think
right.
I don't want to steal your thunder. Oh, wait a minute. One thought. I just noticed when we first came on here that I don't know if everybody can see this at home, but the microphones on our little backdrop here, they have beers in them. Just noticed that.
They do have beers. Yes. Thank you, Butcha. Yeah.
Today. So that's my final thought for
that. That only took you 5 weeks. Nice job.
Hey, it just counts, right? So, Mike, what do you have as a final thought tonight?
Hey, man, I just appreciate everybody listening, and please tell your friends, go on the site, get a T-shirt, get a flag. I put a flag in the front yard of the new house, and got a whole bunch of our new neighbors involved with the page. So,
that's awesome.
Fuck the Mets.
Real quick, fun fact from yesterday. Stott is now leading the whole MLB with 56 hits with 2 strikes.
So he is, in fact, the best
MLB leader.
That is awesome.
That is friggin' 2 strike Stott, baby.
Not taking the strides there and just looking to put the bat on the ball. Beautiful. I love hearing that.
And just thank you. Just like Mike said, thank you for watching. Follow us on all the socials and get a T-shirt, get some merch from what's that, Philly Sports Shirts?
Yeah, PhillySportsShirts.com has any of the shirts that all of us are wearing. So
spread the word. Thanks for your support.
Yeah, appreciate the support. I know it went a little bit long. Thanks for staying with us. We have a lot to say. We're real passionate about baseball. We appreciate your support. Love seeing the comments, shares on all the social media. We're always talking about it back and forth. And we love planning out what we're going to talk about for the week. So, thank you, everyone. And as always, fuck Joe Carter and fuck the Mets. And, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week for episode 6.